Alrighty guys, so we have another set of buffs over here on the JP side of things for their 10th anniversary, and I do want to gauge something in the comment section down below. This one, I have not looked at the buffs beforehand, that way I can kind of just get a raw and visceral reaction to them, and so you guys can let me know, do you like this style better, or do you want me to look at the buffs beforehand, so that way I can kind of talk about them maybe in more of a concise manner, or do you want to see me kind of theory crafting on things? Now, I do have all of them pulled up. It's Parvati, Asterios, Mordred Rider, and Mata Hari. This one seemed pretty obvious because if they're going to give them new animations, you might as well make them a bit more playable. I'm kind of excited to see what they're gonna do with Mata Hari because her kit's not super good. I think the ones that have the best shot at being newly playable or like breathing new life into them is Mordred Rider, because she already has really good looping ability. She just needs a little bit more damage. Same thing for Parvati. She can already do quick looping fairly well, but she's kind of behind on the time. So let's just go find out what they did with our girl Parvati first and foremost. So they're not gonna give her 50% for 3 turns. Ooh, okay. So this is now, ooh, oh, they removed the demerit. So it's just a 30% battery and 20% NP damage. That is not bad. I think this does help her out a lot. If you haven't really used a whole lot of quick characters, you'll know that, you know, they don't loop as well as the arts characters, right? So usually you want them to be rocking like a 30 to 50% battery because it's probably going to come up. You know, you're probably going to need that extra battery because they just don't loop as well. Parvati's a little different though. Her natural NP gain is really high, and she already has a like solid NP generation buff over here with not the best hits on her NP, but it's okay, right? With refunding 10% over here. So this is actually nice for her. I think this means she's going to be a little bit better in like a double ruler Scotty Oberon setup, right? Because she can take advantage of getting that 20% NP damage plus Oberon's skill 1 giving the 20% for that charisma type skill of his, getting overclocked by his 3rd skill. So that's really nice. I don't know if this is going to make her Black Grail compliant. I don't think she's going to be looping that well, but we'll see. I think I have Parvati on JP, so I might go try that out after this video, and maybe I'll put like a pinned comment or something and be like, oh, tested it out, Parvati is great for Black Grail farming, this helps her out a lot, but I'll kind of let you guys know. But this is nice. It's going to be giving her some extra damage, which she desperately needs, and then it's also taking away this really annoying demerit that she had. That was never the worst thing when she came out, but it was certainly annoying. But the fact that this is also targetable does lead to some interesting setup stuff you could probably do. I don't really know where you would weave Parvati into a multi-core setup, especially because Quick kind of has a harder time with that, but I don't know, maybe you're in a situation where your Parvati doesn't need to loop more than one node, you can give this to somebody else. It is kind of nice, actually, if you do have more of a limited box, now that I'm thinking about it. Like, if you don't have a lot of the de facto go-to supports, you're an early box, your characters are very, very limited, just having a character that can give 20% NP damage and 30% battery will be useful. So if you're a newer player, maybe look into Parvati a little bit until, you know, you get your Castorias, your Scotties, your Koyan Skies, or Oberons, those guys. So that is not bad. Not the craziest, but it is good. Like, it's not bad. It's a good buff for her. Asterios. All right, what are they doing with you? Okay, so it's going to be this one. So we're going from fundamentally nothing, okay, to now being able to give chaotic allies 30% buster, demonic 30% buster. So for him, that's going to be 60% because he's both demonic and he's chaotic, right? So it's a 60% buster buff for him. Do keep in mind, if you've never played with Asterios before, I don't blame you. This guy pretty much revolves around his NP over here, drastically reducing the opponent's defense and reducing their attack, plus this massive defensive buff to kind of keep himself alive. So he's kind of like a face card damaging guy. I mean, you can kind of see that from the 1st and 3rd skill over here, being able to give him like big attack, you know, mild buster and a little bit of star weight. Yeah, buff resistance, it's fine. Did they bump it to 100%? It was already at 100%, okay. And then bombs 20 stars? Okay. I mean, It's not like I think, oh my goodness, everybody, you gotta whip out your Asterioses. You gotta use this guy right now. But it's not bad, right? Like, for a low rarity option, if you need something, I mean, I'm also thinking of, say, for instance, the Grand Beast Trials, right? If you're still struggling to get through that because you just don't have some of the like harder hitters, like you don't have a NP5 Kentucky, you don't have an NP5 Lilith who can just one shot the big Herc, or if you're lacking people like your Morgans, your Summer Ibukis, you know, people that can kind of function as supports in those battles where you can only use Berserkers, 60% is not bad if you can find somebody that a lot, or even 30%, because say for instance, like, well, Summer Ibuki's arts, but you know, if you need to do like some crits or anything, you know, she can get the 30% Buster buff. That's not bad. It's a nice little buff for a low rarity character. Don't think it's really going to change the tune on this guy as to whether or not, you know, it's going to be like, oh, this is the deciding factor for me bringing Asterios to this fight. But if you do, you know, FGO is full of a bunch of different, like, mythos and things. So if you're a big fan of, like, the Minotaur myth, especially now that we also have, like, Theseus, it makes him more playable. It does mean that his face cards are going to be hitting pretty hard, especially on the turns where you have all three of these up, where he's got a 90% Buster buff. The extra stars is also nice, especially because if you time it correctly, he won't have to fight for them because he'll have 6,000 star weight. But outside of that, it's not like it's making him crazy or anything, but it is nice. The other thing to also consider for the low rarity characters when they get buffed is that everybody can do them, meaning that it does edge you closer to those missions for doing the rank up quests. So it's, you know, more free Saint Quartz as well, which is always good to see. So I do appreciate that. But this, all right, this is the one that I really care about. Come on, man. I'd still be using Rider Mordred to this day. And I could tell you once you get it to like NP2 or 3, things get a little bit better, but the meme that I will always tell people about and why it's so funny to me is that Rider Mordred can loop so well that she can fully refund her NP without killing a single enemy. Like, her looping ability is really strong. Like, she can loop like an absolute madman. She just needs the extra damage. And because she's a limited year 1 summer servant, you know, it's not exactly like she's popping up all over the place. It's not exactly like you could be like, oh, let me just get her one time this year and then one time that. It's like, you know, you kind of just gotta grab her whenever she comes out, and I feel like she has really bad timing. Like, what, for us on NA, didn't they just come back right before the anniversary? And it's like, oh, you're gonna go for, you know, the old unit, Rider Mordred, and why do I feel like she was on Ruler Artoria's banner? I don't think she was. It makes sense if she came out with Scortoria, but you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna summon for them or the new characters. Okay, so nothing on here. That means it's gonna be our NP. That's good. So, ooh. That's a little nasty. So she's stacking NP damage. Now, okay, let me just do this for people that don't know. So when they rank up an NP, it boosts your damage, right? So you can see that Rider Mordred before the buff, 600% was an NP2. So effectively, the NP boost here is that she's hitting as hard as an old Rider Mordred at NP2. So you functionally just gained a free NP copy for the extra damage you're going to be able to do. This is really nice because it means by wave 3, even if you don't have this thing up here, which might be a little gimmicky, you'll have 30% NP damage. And Arts characters are really good in setups of like double Castoria, Plugsoon, and Oberon for extra damage. This means that Rider Mordred will at baseline with Oberon have 50% NP damage if you're not using Black Grail, because maybe you don't have it, maybe you missed out on it last year and you just haven't pulled it. It's still native 50% NP damage that's getting overclocked by his third skill. God forbid you start dipping into stuff like Black Grail, you're on Waterside Battlefield. I mean, because then, by the third wave, you'll have 20 from this, 30 from this, 20 from Oberon himself. That's 70% without Black Grail. You functionally just built your own Black Grail for your Mordred, and then God forbid you already have Black Grail, and you can just start stacking like another 60% on top of that, even if you don't have it max limit broken. She should be hitting significantly harder. This should be exactly what she needs. Waterside Battlefield is good, and man, it just makes me yearn for the day when we're going to get, whether it's a support or it's a craft essence that we can get that says like 20% NP damage, permanent Waterside Battlefield, and then like 10% attack buff. Something like that. Or manipulate the statistics whatever you want. It's just good general effects, because I know everybody wants like Burning Battlefield to be Buster and Forest to be Quick and Waterside to be Arts, because color coordination. But I do think if they give us these things, they should just kind of be generic type of CEs, like either giving like crit damage, NP damage, attack, stuff along those lines, or starting battery. Maybe NP gain is still fairly generic enough, but it makes me yearn for the day where we're finally going to get those craft essences so we can just start turning these buffs on. I understand they want to balance it a little bit, but this is good. Already innately, this is very, very strong. Not only is she getting more damage, but she's also going to be stacking NP damage, which not only is just good innately, but it's also going to be very nice if you do happen to have Oberon, which, that guy's been coming around more and more often, so I'm not going to say it's likely, but, the longer the character is out, the more likely you are to pull him with each of their rate ups. And now Mata Hari. What do we have for you? Is that it? Strength 83. Is this it? I'm assuming that. Let me double check real quick. Yeah, okay, so it's this one. Because I looked at this and I was like, this isn't bad, but is that all they did? So we're going from a 60% charm all male enemies, reduces all enemies' defense by 20% for 3 turns. That's, not a bad basis to work on. Reduces all enemies' charm debuff resistance 1 time for 3 turns. Okay, so now whenever you do try to stick the charm, it's pretty much going to be guaranteed to hit. That's pretty good. Reduces all enemies' defense by 20%, and then if they're charmed, they go down to 50, and then she bombs 30 stars. 3 turns, too. So they're at minus 50% defense for 3 turns? Like Asterios, I'm not going to say that this is going to change the tune on some people, but it's not bad. Like, minus 50% defense is a lot. Like, okay, let me give you guys a relevant example that you may have used to kind of help you, conceptualize how good this is going to be. So when Jeanne got her buff, not this one, but this one over here, a while ago, it let her have minus 50% defense on people for 1 turn, and then it dropped down to minus 30%. And Jeanne was able to help people do a lot of damage, right? Even before she got this. I mean, we don't even have this on NA yet. So you can think about using your Jeanne right now and how much damage she can contribute to the party just on these turns. Mata Hari is doing that for 3 turns. Now, granted, they do have to be charmed, but it doesn't have to be charmed by herself. So I don't think we have any command codes that do charm. But say you were to place her with like a Kama, a Shutendoji, a Lilith, I think also does charm as well. Reduces those charm debuff resistance, so their charm is more likely to go through. And then when it does hit, they're smacked with minus 50% defense. And keep in mind, she's a 1-star character, so going into some of these boss fights, if you can't afford to, layer out a billion different 5-star characters and all their 5-star CEs and stuff, this is not a bad low rarity option, because also keep in mind, she's giving you Mad Star gen, and then she's giving you 50% crit damage. I still don't think her NP is the craziest, but this does synergize rather well with her, because it does mean that the NP5 Mata Hari that you should have, as like, say you're going up against like a non-male enemy, you still have the ability, because you're lowering this, to pretty much guarantee charm them on her NP. Because that's a 60, and these buff types are additive. So lowering it by 60 does mean that they would have to, like, 100% is going to guarantee it goes through. So they'd have to have over 20% innate debuff resistance to even start getting resistance against this on this turn. And then it further lowers their defense as well. That's a little schnasty. So on that turn, I mean, if you sequence it, you could theoretically have them have minus 70% defense, which is really nice. So again, is it the craziest buff of all time? No, but it does actually synergize with some pretty nasty characters. Again, Lilith is an absolute godsend in this game right now. Kama got a buff that made her really good. And giving them extra value whenever they charm somebody, whether it's, Lilith or Kama on their NP, right? Yeah, they smack the NP. It does mean that all of their cards afterwards are going to innately get this bonus damage. And then the 30 stars is nice as well. I mean, who doesn't love throwing stars around. For somebody, you know, if you're a Shuten Doji enjoyer and you want to use her, you know, helps that arts character out a little bit by, you know, bombing some stars with them. Not bad. Not bad. We're definitely seeing much better buffs. Like, long gone are the days where they're like, all right, buddy, here's your buff. You get 2% attack. And it's like, thanks, dude. All of the buffs this year have been quite strong. I mean, one of the ones that just comes to the top of my head is somebody like Arthur, who went from a complete dud of a heroic spirit to now being arguably the best AoE Buster Saber in the game. I say arguably, don't chew me out in the comments down below, but he became really, really good. And so I do love not only seeing really strong buffs for some of these characters, but especially the low rarity options, because it makes the barrier to entry in this game that much easier. You know, because these are characters that everybody's going to have just by doing your summons, by doing, you know, your daily friend point summon, and then any additional ones when there's like an event or something going on. It just makes the floor of your account much stronger when you have some reliable, especially bronze servants to rely on, when your team cost is lower, or you just don't have, you know, the more meta versions of some of these, I guess you could say supports, because that's kind of what Matahari is doing. She's a support character. If you don't have those, you can still use some of these guys, right? Like, you know, look at Arts. Like, Arts is in such a good position that even if you don't have Castoria, you can make it work, because you have Paracelsus, technically Asclepius if you do have him, even though he's store locked, but now Medea even on top of that as well, and then the free Tamamo or the free waiver you can get just for finishing Fuyuki. I really like these buffs. I think these are really good. I'm really excited to see what's going to be coming up next. Rider Mordred I'm pretty happy about, because when they showed a 4-star Rider, I was looking forward to that one getting a buff. I thought the Lancer would be Liz. I don't know why. That was just kind of like my soul read on the situation, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. One thing that I might pin in the comment section is whether or not Parvati can do the black rail looping. I'll do a little bit of testing. If I do have her on JP, I know I have her on the NA version. I guess I could test that out, right? Because I could test the NA one, and then if it's like, oh, if she just had a 30% battery, she'd get it done. I guess that would answer my question. But yeah, because the damage might also matter for overkill purposes. Quick really relies on that for the extra refund, but I'll probably throw that up in like a pinned comment or something. And then once again, let me know in the comment section down below if you like me going through things kind of blind, or if you want me to look at them first and then, you know, do the video talking about them. It just kind of depends on what you guys want, and I'll kind of just vibe it out by the comments and see what you guys are all kind of consolidating down there. As per usual, daily FGO videos. Leave a like, subscribe, even if they do come out a little later. I'm sorry for yesterday's coming out at like 7 p.m. or something, but I accidentally scheduled it for 8/8 instead of 8/7, and then I realized it didn't come out. I was like, oh my goodness, I gotta upload the video, or I gotta make it go public. But I was like, hey, better late than never, better late than never. Stuff in the comment section down below as well. There's like the streaming links, the Patreon link, Twitter link, Discord, all that good stuff. Streaming is taking a little bit of a backseat, but that is because I am catching up on Star Rail's story. It's not like I'm giving up on streaming or anything. It's just I am really hardcore trying to get caught up over there. But then again, maybe we could stream that. I don't know. I don't know if people want to watch me go through Star Rail's story, because I'm reading it and that might be boring for people. So I guess y'all could let me know and be like, oh no, I would love to read this with you. So let me know that in the comment section down below, and I guess I will catch you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!